what can we do as women, whether it's in terms of how we look for a partner and our perspective on that, or, you know, what should we be doing? Because obviously I don't think we're going to get affirmative action taken away or anything like that. And I think women are going to continue to kind of thrive in the workplace. And the other thing I wanted to pick your brain about is the fact that leadership is still men, right? Politicians are still men. So there's still a lot of work to do. And so I just love to hear your thoughts on that. I know that was kind of rambling.
I'll take that in reverse order. So there's been more. Yeah. The one thing all of our elected officials have in common is about 95 or 98% of them have college degrees. We've decided that kind of realistically is the logical criteria for who we want to lead our nation or make big decisions. But we're inherently very sexist as a culture when it comes to leadership and elected representatives. We've been graduating more women from college for 40 years than men, and yet only 28% of our elected officials are female. We conflate voice and height with leadership qualities. So show me a 4'10" woman with a high-pitched voice who's incredibly smart, incredibly hardworking, and a hello president of local school board. Show me a guy who's fairly smart, but tall and has a great voice. That guy's name is senator. So we need to educate early on what it is, what's required, what are the key components of being a good leader, and also help people modulate for that. We just instinctively think of leadership as being powerful, and we associate powerful with certain audio and visual sensations. So I think some of it is just education. The other thing is, I think you asked me for advice on women, younger women, and what I would say is that I don't want to say lower your standards. What I want to say is be open to the coffee or the second coffee. And that is, the problem with online dating is it's very two-dimensional. You see their looks, and then you make an assumption around their wealth. And women have 3 criteria for mating, or at least the research shows. Number 3 is kindness, number 2 is intelligence, and number 1 is resources. And so it's natural that they will make a judgment, and then they will make kind of a 0 or 1 yes or no call. What I would suggest is pushing the limits of your comfort zone to give more people a chance. And if the date goes okay but not great, be open to a second date to see if it goes from okay to good and then maybe to great. Every long-term relationship I've had, I wouldn't have guessed at the beginning it was going to become a long-term relationship. And we live in such an economy where there's so much fluidity of opportunity that we end up never really pursuing opportunities to their potential. It's like, well, that wasn't great. That wasn't magic, so I'm back on the apps, or I'm just not interested, or I'd rather stay at home and watch Netflix and work. I think that there needs to be a meeting of the minds. I think men need to get their act together emotionally and economically. I think we just need better men. And part of that is more men my age need to take more of an interest in younger men and help mentor them. I think we just need better younger men. And what I would ask here, is that women think, okay, how can I be more open to exploring stuff and see if it might lead somewhere wonderful? Because the wonderful thing about human sexuality is it involves smell, it involves vibe, it involves humor, it involves seeing how that person behaves around their family. And I think a lot of people, especially women, will say, in the beginning, I didn't have that type of interest in this person, and it grew. Their criteria are more subtle and more what I'd call long-term. And we live in an economy and a society that discourages that type of long-term exploration. Does that make any sense? I always get uncomfortable giving women advice because I don't feel I can relate to them as well.
No, it does make sense. I'm very aligned with a lot. You don't have to worry about that with me. I'm aligned with so much of what you're saying. The last thing I want to talk about in terms of this, and then we can kind of close out because I know that you have to go soon. So I had gotten out of a relationship 2 years ago. Now I'm in a happy new relationship. But I was with somebody for 10 years. And I remember that when I used to go out, I would get approached by men all the time. They would come up to me all the time. Now men, I would find that younger men still have I look a lot younger than I am. And so younger men would still approach me. But men my age would never come up and talk to me when I was single. And I thought this was so strange because I had been out of the dating game for 10 years. And so I'd love to hear your perspective on men actually getting the confidence to approach people in person, because I feel like people need to hear about this.